Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Elevation of Palesa. New week, new energy. And I hope there's positive vibes in your environment, there's positive vibes in your space. I send positivity, I send healing, I send growth, I send elevation, I send anything that is of light, anything that is of peace, and anything that is of healing. So guys, today's topic is imposter syndrome. Today's topic we'll be speaking about imposter syndrome. So for those of you guys who don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's basically like a mental distortion whereby one feels inadequate, whereby one feels that they are not good enough, whereby one feels that their efforts are not enough. One has such high mentality of lack. That is what imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome is basically just the mind playing tricks on you as an individual, that you're not good enough, that you lack something, that there's something that you're missing. Whoever you are is not enough, that what you're about, the fiber of your being, is not enough for whatever it is that you're doing. Number 4, it causes a distortion of not appreciating yourself, of under appreciating yourself. So now we're going to unpack the causes that cause imposter syndrome. Why do people have these thought patterns, these thought processes of a lack mentality that runs through their mind each and every day? You know, this problem is actually something that is looked down upon by many people in society, but a lot of people actually go through this. They go through imposter syndrome on a daily basis, and they're afraid, to come forth about it because of the stigma that they might receive from society. So here now we are going to unpack the causes of imposter syndrome. So the first one is family environment. Guys, where you grew up, how you were raised is very, very crucial to who you are in the future. How you were raised, where you were raised is very, very important, because the environment basically shapes who you are as an individual. So what happens is, if you grew up in an environment whereby your parents, your siblings, your guardians were overly critical of you, you're more likely to actually develop imposter syndrome, because you feel like everything that you do is not good enough. When you try and do this, it's not good enough. When you try and do that, it's not good enough. When you try and do this, it's criticized. So growing up in an environment whereby you are highly criticized, you're more likely to actually gain imposter syndrome. And also, just an example is, let's say a grade 11 Tembi, for example, she does maths pure. So she writes a test for maths on a Wednesday morning for their maths class, her maths class, and she gets 90% as the final mark. So she's excited, she's happy. That's a distinction with flying colors, in high school. And she's ready to actually share it with her family members. And when she gets home, what happens is, this is the response that she gets from her parents. Why didn't you get 100%? What happened to the last 10%? Instead of getting a congratulations, what you'll get instead is criticism. So obviously this will then downplay her efforts, number 1. It'll make her feel bad, number 2. She'll feel like she didn't do good enough. Meanwhile, she did, but because of the criticism that she got from her siblings, from her parents, from her guardians, she feels that she didn't do good enough. She feels that she should have hit that 100% target. But at the end of the day, 90% is good enough. It's super, super good, actually. It's way past distinction level in high school. So your environment is very, very important. It's very crucial. It can actually be a contributing factor to you having imposter syndrome. Number 2, social pressures. Social pressures in a sense that being in a certain clique, in a certain group, of friends, can cause you to have imposter syndrome. Let me just make an example. Let's say, for example, there's a group of 5 friends. 4 of them are like rich. They drive fancy cars. They live in mansions. They believe in that lifestyle. But the last one, the 5th one, he or she just lives in a normal house. They drive a normal, simple car. they still well off, but they not, after the fancy lifestyle. They don't believe in the fancy lifestyle. They don't believe in buying fancy cars to flash to society. They believe more in saving. They believe in just living a content life that makes you happy. This is the fifth one. So the fifth one starts getting criticism from these four because he or she is different from them. He or she doesn't think like them. He or she believes in being content instead of flashing, changing cars every month, living in a big house, meanwhile you're alone, or it's the two of you. You know what I'm saying? So this one will get criticism, for being themselves, for just living a minimalistic life, a simple life. They'll get criticized by these four. So that can cause an individual to actually have imposter syndrome through a social clique, pressure coming from that social clique. Another cause is a sense of belonging. So sense of belonging in a way that, we are humans, we want to feel like we belong somewhere. We want to feel like we have people that understand us. We like to feel like we are seen, we are heard, that's what a sense of belonging is. So you not feeling like you fit in a crowd of people, or you are understood by people, or you are seen by people, or you're heard by people, that can actually cause imposter syndrome, because you feel like you don't fit in. You feel like you're misfit, you feel like you're unwanted in places, or you feel like you'll be judged for just being yourself, So a sense of belonging can cause imposter syndrome because some people are just different from what society expects them to be, and society can actually make it difficult for them to survive and live happily in the current times due to their difference, So that can actually cause imposter syndrome. Sorry about that, guys. My lamp just died on me. I haven't been charging it, I haven't been charging it. But just to continue, another cause would be personality. So personality in a sense that we're not the same as people. We are different as people in society. We all have different personalities. So there's extroverts, there's ambiverts, which is a mixture of introvert and extrovert, and then there's the extrovert. So there's three types in the society. So people that are more introverted are more likely to experience imposter syndrome in comparison to people that are extroverted. Reason being, people that are introverted, they keep to themselves most of the time. They actually, not that they don't express themselves, they actually do, amongst a group of people that they're comfortable with, but most of the time they actually keep things to themselves. They don't just open up, they don't just speak about things. So they are most likely to develop imposter syndrome because they keep things to themselves most of the time, whether they're stressed, whether they are overthinking about something that's not treating them well, whether they are sick, mentally, depression, PTSD, they keep it to themselves. And this can cause imposter syndrome in a sense that they'll feel, inadequate because of how they feel. If, let's say, for example, someone is depressed and they don't speak about it, depression can make you feel inadequate. It can make you feel like, you don't belong here. You should just, sometimes it can lead to suicide, whereby someone can feel like, I just don't belong in this world anymore. So there's nothing that I need to bring to this world. That's imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not enough, which can lead to suicide. So people that are introverted, they are most likely to actually develop imposter syndrome in comparison to people that are extroverted, because those ones are usually more expressive. They're more likely to be open about what they go through. So imposter syndrome doesn't necessarily develop that easily towards them, but that doesn't mean they can't develop imposter syndrome, because not all extroverted people are actually open. Yes, they are expressive, but they might not be expressive about their issues and their problems. So these are one of the causes. These are some of the causes that people can develop imposter syndrome through, and this syndrome is actually looked down upon because it's taken lightly. It's really taken lightly. This lamp, people go through things, of lack mentality, of not feeling like they're good enough, or feeling like they lack something, of thinking like 100 times before they do something because they feel like they're just not suitable for that position, for that job, for that project, for that relationship, for that friendship. Because of what? Because of the lack mentality that they have. Imposter syndrome causes self-doubt. You understand? It causes just a distortion in your brain, in your mind, that'll make you see things from a perspective of lack. Okay, I found an alternative light, guys. I think it makes a difference because it is a bit dark there in the background. But just to continue, guys, now we'll be discussing characteristics of imposter syndrome. So this will be things like, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence, self-doubt, undervaluing contribution, relying on external factors for your success, setting unrealistic expectations for yourself, continuous fear of not meeting deadlines, anxiety on not being good enough, burnout. So these are the characteristics that you can actually evaluate whether you have imposter syndrome or not. And then now we go on to the types of imposter syndrome. So amongst the mental distortion of imposter syndrome, there are different types of imposter syndrome personalities that one can have. So the first one is, there's the perfectionist. So we all know what a perfectionist is. It's someone that needs to make sure that everything is perfect, everything is up to date, there's no spelling error. If maybe you left a full stop, they need to make sure that there's a full stop dotted at each and every end of the sentence. They check things like 100 times before they actually submit. They check things 100 times before they actually leave to go somewhere. They always need to make sure that everything is just perfect. It's in order. This one usually wants everything to be perfect in whatever project, in whatever situation that they're involved in. So for them, for a perfectionist, achieving the task isn't enough. Just achieving it and handing it in isn't enough for them. They need to make sure that they went through the project 100 times. They went through the project 200 times to make sure that everything is on point. So their underlying issue is basically fear of losing control. So they need to control everything. They need to make sure that the papers are in order, everything is stapled, that everything is in the same font. They need to control everything before submission. You understand? So their underlying issue of being a perfectionist is that they have a fear of losing control of the situation. So they can't allow someone to just be the one that is the final person to go and submit that project. They have to be the one that's there. Like, no, guys, don't go and submit before I'm there. I need to be there. Otherwise, if I'm not there, then you can't submit. They just have this fear of losing control. Secondly, it's the superwoman or the superman. So this one, they have this tendency of taking on more than they can. This one kills me because sometimes, guys, I can be a superwoman. I tend to take on more than I can, sometimes, and it's something that I'm working on. At least I'm aware of it. But it's one of those things whereby I tend to do it sometimes, especially when I feel like, I need to make sure that I do as many things as possible, because I'll be procrastinating if I don't, number one. Number two, I won't be able to meet the deadlines, So I take on too much, and then it ends up doing what? It ends up causing me to burn out. So Nami, imposter syndrome tends to creep in here and there, but I always make sure to tackle it the right way. So Superwoman and Superman, they like taking on way too much than they can handle. They like taking on too much. If a boss maybe says, please do this for me on a Saturday, meanwhile they know on a Saturday they're not that free. They have to be with family, or they need to go somewhere. They'll take it on. Or maybe next week, boss says, please do 2 of these tasks additional on top of what you need to do. Then what do? You say, yes, boss, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? They just take on way too much. They are not willing to just rest, to do enough for them and just rest. They always need to just do above and beyond. So their underlying issue is the fear of taking time out and relaxing. It's their fear, like as I said, sometimes I'll just be thinking that if I relax, I'm procrastinating. But meanwhile, it's not procrastinating. It's actually me taking time to from a busy schedule, taking time to gather my thoughts together, just gain my energy back. You understand? So it's that fear of relaxing. That's the underlying issue for being a superwoman or a superman. Another one is the genius. So the genius is basically someone who is just naturally intelligent. When someone gets asked for ideas, maybe when the boss or the manager gets asked for ideas, or even a family member or a friend, this person is the first one, to come up with an idea. This person is the first one to come up with solutions. They're a genius. But the problem with them is, especially also when it comes to submission of assignments, tasks, or whatever, because they're smart, they have this thing where I'm smart. So they do things quickly, which they can. They answer, they do whatever quickly, and then they submit. They don't check their work. I get it, they tell themselves that they're smart. So they don't check their work. They just do it once, and then that's it. Then they submit. They don't check their work. It was okay. Maybe there was spelling errors. Maybe there was an error in a sentence, or maybe I didn't write a sentence that makes sense. You understand? They just submit after first attempt, and then that's it. So with these geniuses, they do not believe in checking their work. They do not believe in feedback. Basically, they do not believe in maybe giving a second person to read their work and then come back with feedback. They don't believe in that. So those kind of people, they also not open to constructive criticism. They're not open to constructive criticism. So it's basically a threat to them. Constructive criticism, about clever, the genius ones. They don't take constructive criticism. So their underlying issue is the shame of failing. So they don't want to be known for failing. They don't want to be known for making a mistake. They want to be known for always being intelligent, for always being smart, for always their ideas being the ones, that are top notch. They don't want to be known for failing. So that is an underlying issue that causes them to have an imposter syndrome of always just being the genius, of not taking constructive criticism from people, of not taking any feedback. Next is the soloist. The soloist. So this person is used to working solo. One man island. This person doesn't believe in working with others. This individual believes in working alone. This is another type of an imposter syndrome personality. So they have pride to ask for help. They have pride to come forth to someone and say, look, dude, I'm stuck. Please assist me, or please help me understand this question better because I don't understand it. They have pride to come and ask people for help. So their underlying issue is the fear of asking for help. So they fear being seen that they don't understand because they're used to working one man. So they have this fear that if I ask for help, then they're going to see that I actually can't do it alone. So that is a form of an imposter syndrome personality that you can get. Another one is the expert. This one feels that they need to have, let's say for example you're given a project, they feel like they need to have all the information before they start working on the project, properly. They feel like they need to have this information. They feel like they need to have this information. They feel like they need to have this information. They feel like they need to have this information in order for the project to start commencing now. They're experts. They want everything to be to the T. They can't start and maybe freestyle along the way, be creative, bring their creative juices in. No, they believe that they need to collect all this information first before they can actually start working on a project. That is the expert. So their underlying issue is that the fear of inadequacy. They have a fear of inadequacy. So the fear of not being good enough. In a sense that they feel like if they leave out this information, this piece of information, and they start the project without this piece of information, then it will be inadequate. The project will be missing something. You understand? So they have a fear of inadequacy, a fear of not being good enough. And these types, they don't understand that you can't know everything in life. You can't know everything. You need to freestyle, just freestyle. And then along the journey or the route of working on whatever it is that you're working on, that's when answers will start coming in. But you can't know everything at the beginning, So this is another type of an imposter syndrome personality. Next is the noticer. So the noticer is similar to a perfectionist, but how they are different is this one can't celebrate the achievements, just like the perfectionist, because they notice errors. They notice errors. They just the notice of errors. They just always pick up errors. You understand? That's the noticer. The perfectionist, they check everything overall. Everything that, okay, time, maybe we should submit at this time. Do we have this sorted? You understand? The perfectionist looks at the overall picture, but the noticer notices errors specifically. Errors. So their underlying issue is the fear of not belonging. You understand? In a sense that they usually they notice errors quickly. They forgive other people easily, but they fail to forgive themselves of the errors that they do. So that's the noticer. So their underlying issue is the fear of not belonging. So that's why they notice things too much, because they can then pick up, okay, this is how things are supposed to be. So what they do is they adjust themselves so that they can fit in. You understand? By noticing things all the time. They're very quick with their eyes. So they notice things quickly, and then they evaluate it with, okay, here, there's an error here. Okay, cool, can be fixed. At least it's not done by me. It's done by a teammate. So I must make sure that I must tread along those lines. You understand? So they have a fear of not belonging. That's why they're good at noticing things, so that they can be able to adjust to the environment in which they're in for survival. And then the next one is the discounter. So the discounter usually they like justifying who they are, justifying what they're about, justifying their skills, justifying their talent, so that people can know who they are. They're the ones that speak about who they are more than they show. That's the discounter. They like telling people who they are instead of showing people who they are. For example, one would say, oh, people think so highly of me, but they don't really know who I am. That's the kind of person a discounter is. So someone who goes around telling people who they are instead of showing people who they are, most of the time it's because they don't trust their surroundings. They don't trust the people that they are actually surrounded by. That's why they need to actually, and they also don't trust themselves, because they have to now keep on reminding people who they are, what they're about, instead of showing people who they are and what they're about. So it's a fear of trusting people. So a lack of trust. So trust issues pretty much is the underlying issue of the discounter. So now, Balavi, we're going to be speaking about solutions to dealing with imposter syndrome. So the first one would be aware of the symptoms. So I did give you guys the characteristics earlier on in the video. The characteristics of, imposter syndrome. And then once you actually evaluate those characteristics, then you evaluate whether you have them as an individual. Because once you evaluate and you figure out that you have them, then it's going to be easier for you to come up with solutions. Secondly, you need to guard your thoughts. Guys, your thoughts are very, very important. Your thoughts actually manifest into your reality. So if you don't guide your thoughts, if you're always thinking negatively, it's going to manifest into your reality. So that's why you need to keep your thought processes positive. You need to keep them positive, so that what it can do is it can disturb this mental distortion called imposter syndrome. Because imposter syndrome is actually a negative outcome of the thought processes that you have in your head. So what you can do is, instead of always downplaying yourself. Let's say after achieving something, maybe you reached a goal of yours that you had. Like, congratulate yourself, celebrate, pop a champagne if you have to, buy a bottle of wine, call friends in, or family, you know what I'm saying? Celebrate, scream, jump in joy, just do something to actually celebrate and congratulate yourself. Don't downplay yourself by negative thinking. That's how you actually guard your thoughts. And then number 3, you need to, this is like a solution. It's like a practical solution, because I know some of you guys are practical, you're more visual in order for something to stick. So what you can do is you can assess the evidence by making a two column list. So on the right side, you can have a positive affirmation. Sorry guys, I'm just reading some of the notes that I did here so that I don't fumble the solutions. On the right side, you can have a positive affirmation, something like, I am more than enough. I am magnificent. I am powerful. I am intelligent. Things like that. And then on the other side, you can have the same thing, So basically, this side you'll have positive affirmations, and this side you'll have positive affirmations. So these are like 2 affirmations per row on each column that are supporting each other. You understand? Because I always believe in what you do on the left, you must do on the right, and what you do on the right, you must do on the left, just for balance. So this will help you actually visualize the affirmations. And once you visualize something, automatically it gets into your mind, it gets into your brain. And then what you can do is you can make sure that it sticks, and then you keep on replaying it. So you do this 2-column practical solution, and then you just write positive affirmations. On the right, you write positive affirmations. On the left, you write positive affirmations. Maybe this side you can have, I am powerful. This side you can have, I am magnificent. This side you can have, I am successful. This side you can have, I am handsome, I am beautiful. This side you can have, I am good enough. This side you can have, I am skilled enough. You understand? So just have that 2-column list. Write down all positive affirmations. Keep it in your head and keep saying them to yourself on a daily basis. So it can be maybe 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, 5 minutes in the evening, or 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Just whatever's flexible for your schedule. And then another thing that you can do is you can remind yourself of your values. So your values are things that govern you as an individual. Things that govern you, as an individual. So these are basically things that drive you, things that motivate you to be balesa. Fundamentals that you keep with yourself that will shape and build you and make you who you are today and tomorrow. Those are values. So you can remind yourself of your values, and then after you remind yourself of your values, you'll be able to actually track of how far you've come, track at how far you actually need to go, and track at how far you're still going. And then after tracking and evaluating how far you've come, congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, dance, do whatever to celebrate yourself, and then keep on doing what you've been doing. That's what will also help just deal with the imposter syndrome. And then another way is be open-minded. Being open-minded, guys, it tackles imposter syndrome in a sense that it helps you try things that you're not used to doing. Getting yourself out of your comfort zone will help tackle imposter syndrome. So instead of like feeling that you're not good enough, what you can do is, if you're a soloist, the type of imposter syndrome personality, you're used to working alone, what you can do is like start working with other people. You understand? That'll be able to tackle your imposter syndrome of, fear of asking for help. You understand? You actually get over that if you start working with people. Understand? So that can be a way of tackling imposter syndrome. Just being open-minded and trying new things that you're not used to. And then another way is be open to failure. Guys, some of us are hard on ourselves, hey? Whenever we actually don't succeed or achieve things, we just give up and we feel like we're not good enough. But that's not true. It's just you need to redirect, the way in which you do things. When you fail, it's a sign that you're doing something wrong, Not that you're a failure, no. You're just doing something wrong and you need to adjust and redirect whatever it is that you're doing so that you can be able to do the right thing. And then the last thing is practice mindfulness, guys. Practice mindfulness, meaning show yourself some compassion. You understand? Be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself. Take time to relax, take time to breathe. You understand? When you feel overwhelmed, don't feel bad for putting whatever it is that you're doing on hold and coming back to it. When your nerves are calm, when your mind is calm, when your thoughts are calm, it's okay. Practice mindfulness, be compassionate with yourself. So be gentle with yourself. You understand? So these are the solutions in which you can actually use and utilize to solve imposter syndrome. Guys, imposter syndrome is a real thing. It's a real thing and people don't speak about it. It can affect your productivity. It can affect your progress. It can affect all your relationships, whether it's platonic, whether it's intimate, whether it's business related. You understand? It can really, even family related, it can affect your whole life if you don't deal with imposter syndrome, because you always feel like you're not good enough. You always feel like you lack something. You always feel like there's something wrong with you. It will affect your confidence, your self-esteem, which will cause you to miss out on opportunities, whether it's friendship opportunities, business opportunities, family-based opportunities, all types of opportunities. You'll miss out on them because you've got this mental distortion sitting in your head that you need to deal with. So guys, don't be afraid to come forth about imposter syndrome to whoever you feel will understand you. If you don't have anyone in your circle around you, in your environment that you can speak to, just vouch to a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist that will assist you in tackling imposter syndrome. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Toodles.